Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to do an update on our pine shaving bin. Now, we're coming down to the end of this. It's been over a year, or actually a year and about 5 months now that we've been running this system. So almost a year and a half, actually, now that I think about it. And 13 days since our last update, but I think it's time to start winding this down because the shavings appear to be primarily gone, and it looks like they've turned into castings, or at least close enough to castings where it's time to maybe move on and get these worms into something new. Now, instead of doing my normal harvest where I throw it through a sorting machine, what we're going to do is we're going to do a side-to-side harvest on this. So we're going to try to push all the material to one side, we're going to put in some fresh bedding, which is just paper, on the other side, and we're going to put in some special food that I've mixed up, which is going to be oats, it's going to be birdseed, and some neem cake powder. The idea behind this is that we're giving them something that's really, really good that they're really going to try to go after and get out of this other bedding material and go into this paper. The paper itself, we're going to get it wet before we put it in, so it's going to be nice and damp. We're going to spread the food in it, kind of mix it up, and then we're going to cover it with a little bit of the current material that we have in here with the shavings and everything, because you do need it to get that microbial activity going. And then we're going to let this sit for about a week or two. We're going to come back in, we're going to take a look, we're going to harvest some of the worms out of it, and then we're going to do it again. And then we're going to take a look at this material and how it ended up at the end of all of this. Now with that, I will be starting a new project with a new bedding material that somebody had recommended a while ago. We're going to try some hemp bedding. So we'll try that next, but first we got to finish up this system. So with that, let's take a look at the system and let's see how it's doing. All right, so here is our pine shaving bin. First off, we're going to take off these layers here. Just see how it's doing. So nothing really on the surface there. And by the way, I don't think I would use these bags in the future. I would definitely continue to use, as I have with some of my other ones. I got one worm that's on there. I'm not seeing any cocoons though. But I would definitely use the bubble wrap. I think that's a better solution for this. So with that, we have a couple dates here that you see on the bottom. We have 4/26 where we did a feeding, and then we had 5/12 where we also did a feeding. Today's the 25th, so 13 days. Let's go ahead and push that down a little bit. And we'll start digging in actually in this section over here, I think. We'll start in this corner over here. Things are feeling a little bit... Oh, hold on. Wait, before you do that, look what I found on top here. I found a cocoon. So first cocoon here. It's always a good sign to see them. I'll put that over there. Well, actually, let's just take a look here. Do I see any other cocoons on the surface here? I do see, of course, the one worm, but I don't see any other cocoons. That was just a one-time thing, I guess. All right, so let's dig down here in this corner now. Flip this over, and we still have some of this corn husk left in here, which is okay. We can actually put this in on the other side when we add all of our other bedding material and everything. That'll kind of draw the worms over. We've got a little bit left over there. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, you know what we're going to do? We're going to kind of just hollow this section out over here. We're going to do our feeding over here. So we're going to go ahead and pull this out. We're going to throw in some of this food that we've got left over. We'll actually put that over there. See, there's worms all through this system. The system, it looks really, really nice. I've never really found it to be aerobic either. Like, even though it's kind of a little bit moist, it's not too bad. So all right, let's throw this food over there. This is where we're going to throw all of our food that's left over. Let's keep going on here, see what else we find though. Some more worms. Nice healthy looking worms in here though. Good amount of them. And even more, look at this. So there's something else that they were chewing on over here. We've got a little baby worm right there. Look at that right by my thumb. So some nice little worms in here. Again, these are the reds. For those that haven't been watching all the videos on this, and I do have a playlist of all these videos, by the way, if you're ever curious. I want to go back and look at all my first videos that I did. You can see all the way from when I first started this. You can see this material is really starting to look broken down. There's still, I mean, you can still tell that it's there, but the shavings just look a lot better than they used to be. And, you know, maybe at the end of all this, I'll show you what the shavings actually look like when they're new. Let's just dig here in the center section where we last fit. Oh, here we go. Here's the horde of worms. They are, of course, by the coffee grounds. So we'll throw that over here as well. Again, we're going to just kind of bury those with paper. Look at this. You can see the coffee grounds over there. We'll put those over there too. Oh, this might be a good way to lure the worms out as well. Look at this. You can see that they are just going nuts in this center section here. More coffee grounds over here. But look at that. You can see all the worms right here. I mean, they're really tearing through this material, doing a great job. So this is actually a really good material probably for breeding as far as once it's to this point for getting your quantities and number of worms up. But I do feel that this was a little bit slow to start as far as how slow they were to kind of get comfortable with this material, which I think part of it is because of the fact that it's the pine shavings might be a little bit slightly acidic. They kind of are antimicrobial, I think, a little bit. You've got the way that just pine is in general. So all right, I think that's good right there. So I think we're going to move this off to one side like this. Now what do we need to do? We're going to let these guys dig in a little bit. What we're going to do here is we've got some of this material over here, as you can see, which is perfectly fine. It's a little bit sticky now. It's sticking to my gloves a little bit, but it just knocks right off, I have to say. This is just really good material. But it's right at that right consistency where I could probably just use this in a garden almost immediately. Now, what we want to do is we want to kind of add paper to this side along with our extra food that we've made here. And we want to make sure that that food, though, is that this paper is wet. So the first thing we're going to do here is I'm going to grab my container. I'm going to move this out of the way for just a minute over here while we do this. I've got my container here, and I didn't know how much paper I would need, so I didn't want to add this until we're ready to go, but I'm going to add my pre-shredded paper here into this container. Don't worry if some of it misses to the side, it's all right. Because we're gonna make a fairly large area for the worms to go into, but I think that might be good there. I don't want to add too much. I just want to make a place for them to go. Actually, one more handful, I think. And then we're going to add in some of our water and BTI mix into here, so that way we can get this nice and wet. So I've got that bucket over here. I'm just going to go ahead and pour in a little bit of water. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and grab my glove and mix all this together. The whole goal of this is to get all this paper wet. It's actually, I find it easier a little bit to lean it, kind of rotate it in this way. This has been one of the newer things I've been doing. I've been trying to wet a lot of this bedding material before I add it to systems. Just that way it's at least a little bit pre-moistened. And as I said, we don't need to be perfect with this. We just want to kind of get it all just a little bit moist. And there we go. I think that's good. We can now bring our system back here. And as I said, the goal is not to fill this up. Caught on my arm there. There we go. So there we go. We've got our system back here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add this paper on this side over here. Just like this. Need something to lean it on, though. And this is going to give them, the worms, someplace new that has some moisture, and then we're going to add some food, and we're going to mix up the food. We're going to do this right in this system, though we're not going to do it in this container. And part of the reason why I do this separately, when I'm mixing and like trying to mix up water like this and not mix it up in my bucket, I like to make sure that I leave this with very little paper in it, so that way it can dry out, and that way it's hopefully not going to get mold. So that's the plan for that. All right, so that looks good right there for paper. We can move this back a little bit more. We can collapse that in on it. And now let's add our food. So we're not adding any grit this time. I don't think grit's really needed. But as you can see here, we blended up the food. We're going to go ahead and pour this right on top here. And then we're going to kind of mix this in. This is going to be a nice material for them to kind of chow down on. We can kind of mix that in with the other stuff that's in here. It's going to be a nice high microbial content area. Might heat up a little bit, but hopefully not. but the worms will hopefully be able to move over here, and they're going to get out of this material over here. So now the next thing to do, though, is to collapse this down so that way everything's touching, just like this. Look at this. I mean, I can't believe how many worms are in here. I mean, like every handful has just a massive amount of worms in them. You can just see. But these guys we need to start moving them out and see if we can get them into a new system, or at least redo this system with some different bedding material in it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull off these labels right here, which show the last feedings, which are now invalid since we just moved all the food. And I've got my new label right here with a little asterisk on it to show what we're doing here. So I'm going to put this right at this corner here. The asterisk symbolizing the fact that we're trying to do a harvest from this system on this side. Oh, didn't quite fit down. Right, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put just a little bit of this on top. And the reason being is just I want to kind of make sure that this stays moist. And now the last part of this, make sure I clean off my gloves there as much as possible. This material just looks phenomenal though. It looks like it's really ready for the yard. And now we got to put our cover back on. Now we really want to make sure that this side is covered well, because we want to keep that moisture in on this side so the worms will migrate over. We're going to put that one down first. Then this piece over here. And really this third piece I really don't even need, but I've been just continually adding it right back to the surface. And as I said, I probably would not use these bags again. I probably would continue to use the bubble wrap that I have. So if you're looking to get any of this stuff, I do have some links down below. Please check them out, Amazon and some other affiliate links. And thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, leave a note down below in the comments. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching.